Hello there, YouTube. My name is Jacob, and as always, hit the PNCLCG is where you want to be. In today's video, I'm going to be doing a very brief live racing discussion of the Ferrari Roma. There are multiple different ways that you can drive this car, multiple different settings. I'm going to really quickly do a brief overview of how there are different ways that you can make this car work. If you enjoyed today's video, if you enjoyed this content, please consider subscribing to PNCLCG. Every little bit of support is greatly appreciated and really helps out here on the channel. Please leave a like if this video was helpful and informational. If there's anything you want to see on the channel in the future, please leave it down in that comment section below. But as always, please keep it respectful. And then make sure you turn that notifications bell to all so you don't ever miss out on a video. Without further ado, let's get to it. So, here we have the Ferrari Roma. This is not the one that you've seen on the channel that has been deleted and I used to drop and all of that stuff in my how to live race videos. If you are interested in those, they are a bit long, but they're very in-depth and descriptive. Please do go check those out. I took a lot of time into making those videos, figuring out various different things for the informational purposes of those videos, so please do go check those out if you are so inclined. Now, this Roma here has way more fusion parts, way more parts in general in it. I've driven it a lot more. This is on my older account, the one that I've had a lot longer, that has just way more cars, way more stuff in general. Some very cool cars, but nonetheless, as you'll see here on these settings that I have here, I have a quite a interesting setup of lower performance points and an acceptable Evo. Now this car, if I'm just going to really quickly show it. If I take it down to stock on everything, put this to stage 1, put this to stock, put this to stock, and then transmission is on 4 for the tunable element, tires on 3 for the tunable element, nitrous is on 2 for the tunable element. I've got over 1,000 Evo with such an extremely low performance point number. Now that is without tuning the car. If I tune it, I can actually get almost 1,200 Evo with the amount of fusions that I have in it. And since you have so few parts that you actually need to fuse, right? You have so few parts that you need to fuse on this car. It's completely doable for a newer player or someone who just simply doesn't have quite an extensive amount of Ferrari fusions to be able to get to 1,000 Evo with this car on just the low performance points that I've shown here. So this, we'll take this. We'll accept that right there. Beautiful. Let's do it. Here we go. This is just really quickly just to show what this car can do in these settings. So I ran a 12.823 on a 12.943 dyno. So I didn't beat dyno by a crazy amount, but the car will beat dyno by a little bit. And for the lower amount of performance points that I've got in the car, being able to beat dyno by that little amount and just be able to beat cars that are in that similar 12.9-ish lobby, or even more closer down to a 13.2-ish lobby, is definitely extremely helpful. And I didn't retune it or anything like that, so you could certainly tune it to get more out of this car. I've seen people with very few fusion parts be able to get to 1,000 Evo with this car and be able to do quite well in live racing. So it is completely and totally doable. So here I have a bit of a more interesting setup. I missed it by a mark, so let me go in and fix this here. I think this is right on the money. Oh yeah, I forgot. One last thing. Which one is it? Ah, yes. This goes to here. This is here. This is here. I think that is right. Yes. Okay, perfect. 11.8 is what I'm looking for. That's what I wanted. So, these are the settings that I personally like to use, preferably. It gets me a little bit more RP for every race that I do since it has a bit more performance points in it. And the car can get a little bit more dyno beating performance actually as well. So let's take a look and see. Yeah, so on an 811, and I didn't run that exactly as perfect as I could have. I ran a 11.620, so about a 2/10-ish. I found that this car on these settings will run roughly 0.250 if I tune it perfectly and fix it up and all that sort of stuff. And again, this is not a crazy high performance points setup. I've got intake on 4, no turbo at all. Engine is at 5, transmission at 4, tires are at 3, body's at 5, nitrous is at 2. So this is a car that can do relatively nicely. I don't need anywhere near the amount of fusion parts that I have in this car. And I don't really have a crazy amount of pink fusions in it. I have some, but I have found that this car will do it with 0 pink fusions in the car at all. It will get to that 1000 Evo mark and be able to do relatively decent in life. So again, 11.811 dyno. I can run probably around an 11.550-ish, somewhere roughly in there. So let's just do a live race. This car is very competitive lately. If you see this car, it is quite good. I will be doing a video on it in the near future, so if you're excited for that, please consider subscribing, leaving a like, leaving a comment, all that good stuff. And let me know. But yeah, here we go. Let's see. What can we do? Yeah, we reel them in. If I'd ran that a bit better, we could have 100% beaten that car. Yeah, see, I proved that I can run 11.6. I ran an 11.725 there. So, 100% could have totally competed with that car there. I just did not run as strong of a run as I could have. And I'm really not that bothered by that, to be honest. I don't really need to be crazily beating dyno and everything like that with this setup because it's a low performance setup. I'm going to let this person take my cash because I don't want to destroy the car. I don't need to be running any sort of crazy amount of dyno beating, even though I showed that the car can do a relatively decent amount. I'm just going to run the car like normal, and if I'd even tried to beat dyno remotely by a little bit, as you saw, I was catching that person there. I almost had them. Yeah, 11.817. I would only need to beat my dyno by a little bit there to win that race. So that is going to do it for today's video discussing a low performance point or a middle performance point over 1000 Evo setup for the Ferrari Roma. If you did enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to the BNCLCG. Every little bit of support helps and is greatly appreciated. Please leave a like. That lets me know that you enjoyed today's content, that it was helpful, that you found it useful to know how to be able to set this car up, maybe without having too many fusion parts, still have 1,000 Evo, and still have a cool looking Ferrari that you can earn RP for your crew and earn cash as well. Tier 5 cars earn the most cash and the most RP of all the live racers in CSR2. If there's anything you want to see in the future, or any comments that you do want to make, please leave that down in that comment section below. But as always, please keep it respectful. As always, my name is Jacob. Here at the PNCLCG is where you want to be. Thank you very much for watching. You all have a blessed day.